Coming to this space from the side of the tech providers, I can say that these companies must should have been agile at that point in time, obviously, and work with their clients in terms of the manner in which they get into deals, the manner in which they maintain their current deals. I can give an example of one of my clients, a company called WC Sports, that once obviously live sports shut down, they started working with their clients on archive materials, obviously, and that provided their clients, the rights owners, the leagues, etc., with certain kind of substitute for the live sports. Obviously, we've encountered other kind of we were required to be more agile in the manner in which we negotiated terms of the deal, in view of the fact there's no live sports, providing certain kind of ways to the clients that came with the territory back at the time.
One other comment on this space, from a rights holder perspective, one other thing the pandemic prompted was an unprecedented level of scrutiny over the cost base of the sport, and the rugby, our shop window product most of the year is Super Rugby, which is a 16-team, four-country competition in multiple time zones, games on all hours of the night that people have just been used to for years. Once COVID hit and travel became impossible, there was a total rethink of the need to conduct a competition in that way. And actually COVID necessitated the playing of domestic sort of mini competitions. And it turns out that's what the fans wanted anyway. They would prefer to watch a match at 7 p.m. on a Saturday between the two local teams that they know, rather than a match streamed in from Buenos Aires at 2 in the morning. And broadcasters really love that. So again, those changes would never have really happened were it not forced by COVID, but it also enabled greater appreciation for how competitions are run, the cost base and the travel budget, those types of things that rights holders grapple with every day. And there was a lot of real positive changes that came out around competition structure as a result of that.
NFTs also came up during this time. Actually, people started selling clips and the rights of those clips to people. And this is a very interesting thing. People own the rights of certain moments in a match. And it was very surprising when this work first came to me. I was very surprised, how would you actually do it? But it's happened. And these are a very typical type of contracts which did not exist till this thing came in. So this is another field for lawyers. I again and again pitch for lawyers because I'm in independent practice, so I want to tell you how you get work. And if you need any templates, you can contact me.
Thanks, Mohit. Just a quick question to you, Patrick. Did you see an increase in standalone archive rights deals during this time?
Not standalone archive rights deals, but certainly an increased interest in the value of archive and how archive was being monetized. I think that's something previously archive was sort of a nice to have in the broadcast deal. It certainly wasn't driving value, but all the value was really driven by the premium, particularly international grade, but also provincial level live sports. But with again, as we were talking about earlier, with the growth of documentary content and the increased appetite for packaging shoulder content that might delve into archive and tell narratives that are relevant to fans, that depends on the use of that archive, there's certainly increased appreciation for its value. And I think one thing that many rights holders are sort of grappling with is whether or not to conduct a digitisation exercise themselves, or to rely on a broadcaster or a tech platform to do that for them. It's obviously a very significant investment to digitise the archive of the sport that's been played professionally for 100 plus years, but it can be done, and having control over an archive from a rights holder perspective is a really powerful commercial proposition, and that's something that I think sports have dealt with differently, but it again just underlines the growing value of deep archive material.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. So going back to what Amir mentioned, your client WC Sports, could you explain exactly kind of how they general, the innovations they've come up with in delivering sports content, because they have a lot of
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Natalie. Basically, WC Sports is a company that has a certain SaaS platform. It provides content creation capabilities and publication of sports-related content. Basically, identifies automatically all of the events that happen within the match or the fight or the race, and can create condensed clips on demand in advance that the operators of the platform, usually the media and content teams of the relevant rights holders, can create those clips in advance and automatically publish them to the relevant destinations, whether it be social media or any other destination. Obviously, that opens up tremendous possibilities for the rights owners to expand their reach and engage the fans, both in terms of allowing the fan to kind of create or get in touch with the content that is more relevant to that fan, and also certain segmentation between various territories, market segments, etc. For instance, one of the items that I always hear from my client is that it's amazing, just as an example, it's amazing how in obviously some territories, for instance Europe, you can see that in a certain night a clip produced that shows Luka Doncic's performance that evening has obviously 5 times as much views as a clip dealing with Steph Curry. Even if Luka just scored 10 points and Steph Curry scored 50 points, it's still obviously it's much more prominent in Europe than in the US. So the rights owner can basically segment and target specific audiences through that innovation, and creates kind of parallel offering, but targeting specific markets and specific fans.
So are you talking through social media, right?
Yeah.
And so are they targeted ads, or are these fans already following the rights holder?
So the fans, so either they kind of subscribe for the apps of the rights holders or the leagues, or consume their content through social media venues, channels, such as Facebook, YouTube, etc. Obviously, there are a lot of items kind of that a client such as WC Sports needs to keep up with, such as the shift from one social media platform to another. Say in the beginning it was just Facebook, YouTube, etc. And now we're talking about Snapchat and obviously TikTok, and there needs to be constant efforts around making sure that all these platforms are integrated into a centralized place with respect to each rights holder.
So can you briefly explain what the contractual framework is? So does WSC need to have a direct relationship with, let's say, broadcasters, so whoever's providing the feed, or is it incumbent on the rights holder to ensure that the broadcaster or whoever is delivering the feed delivers the feed also to citizens?
Yeah, so great question, Natalie. So for the most part, it's the latter option. Namely, they are relying on the rights holder to provide the streams and the data in order to power the platform, so to speak, and create the content. Obviously, WC having kind of a technology solution. So it signs deals from time to time with data owners and data providers, but for the most part, it relies on the rights holder.